Hello everyone. So we are done with the recaps on Hexboss because we rerolled the new character yesterday, and it's the CoC DD Inquisitor that I've made guide for before the league even started. If you are completely new to the build and you haven't seen the guide, I highly recommend watching the guide instead. But here we are to explain some problems that people ran into while playing this build, and just making sure that people actually know how to fix them, and just going over how I'm progressing on this character as well. So let's start with problem number 1. And that is people not having their POB set up correctly. When you go to POB and you import your character, the lancing steel is set to single projectiles hit, and that is what causes people's trigger rate to be incorrect. It causes it to be, in this case, 1.56, even though it's supposed to be a lot higher. It's supposed to be at 7.58. And see, it also affects the damage. So that's the number one problem by far that people have encountered while playing this build. So just make sure to set this up correctly when importing your own character. I'm sorry to not include that in the previous guide. I do this kind of stuff naturally because I know where to look for it. But I understand that this is not so obvious for people how to fix this. I figured I would mention this in his video because I get that question asked every single day, like 20-30 times. Question number 2 that gets asked a lot is about specters and how they function. Once you summon a specter, it gets added to your designate pool and it stays there forever for that character. You don't have to do it again once you log out and log back in, and all you need to do is summon the specter, take off the gem, and you don't need it anymore. For example, I'm playing on this character, I'm almost level 95. I still only have one specter in my designate pool. POB for the build guide had multiple specters, and they have also introduced new specters that are slightly better than those, but realistically speaking, it's a few percentage difference. Having just one is good enough all the way until you are doing tier 16, tier 17 content. I will make sure to get the proper list of the best specters for tomorrow's review, because I don't have it yet, and I want to make sure that I actually have the best list, because there has been a lot of misinformation going around regarding that. Just make sure you have at least one high HP specter, whether it's Kitava Herald or Meatsec from the All Flame Meatsec. Anything of that works, but if you want to get more in the initial POB, there's 5 basic specters that have all 360% life. There's some new specters in tier 17s that are slightly better, but I wouldn't worry about it until at least tomorrow if you haven't worried about it yet, when I will give you the proper list. POB enemy corpse life here doesn't show up when you click this as spell if you don't have this filled up, so just make sure if you want to check your POB DPS properly. We use 70k because that's just the number that actually seems to represent reality for the most part, and it's easy to compare between DD builds, so just put it at 70k so you can compare to others, since that's what every POB is using. Another question I've been asked is, how do you chill? We chill by clicking Glacial Cage and a mastery here that says chills from hits always reduce action speed by at least 10%. This works if you have any cold damage to attacks or spells, since we both attack and deal damage with spells. But the key thing here is you cannot be using free dragons, because free dragons basically prevents inflicting chill in ways that are not skitter builds. So this is something that you need to know once you have a replacement for free dragons, which is basically getting a yoke, and that should be one of your priorities when it comes to gearing, even though it's very expensive. So just make sure you do that. I've been asked about the chill a lot, so if you are not chilling and you don't have free dragons, just make sure you get flat damage to attacks or spells anywhere. It can be on a Hypnotic Eye Jewel, it can be a Glove Implicit, it can be on weapon. There's a lot of ways. Speaking of weapon, let me quickly show you how to get high level Buttered Foil, because this is a new thing that wasn't available beforehand. You just bury it, click craft, weapons, one-handed weapon, scroll pretty much all the way down, Buttered Fold, item level 83, and then you can craft it with essences. A level 83 Buttered Fold, very easy to get now. This was available since 2 days ago. I also accidentally crafted this foil when testing out the league mechanic. I will try to figure out good ways to actually craft gear with Necropolis over the next day or two when I'm progressing gear on this character, and I will make sure to post those in the build updates as well. So it seems like the weapon is gonna be very easy to craft. I'm not sure what the cost of the corpses is gonna be yet. I've just been collecting them for my own use, so I will give an update on that. Otherwise, I think those are the main questions that people ask a lot. If you have any other question, just let me know in the comments or in my Twitch chat. I will be happy to answer them if you have anything that I forgot to mention here. But let's talk about how my character is doing right now and what's the current state of it. So I've decided to do my builds in progression, and what I mean by that is use like bad / decent gear early on and then ramp up the gear to a good gear within like 2 days. Because otherwise I could just load up the character with full gear and have 0 progression while playing it, and I think it would make for bad content. But if you guys disagree with that and you just want to see the endgame version, maybe I could do that instead. But I just think this is way more interesting and relatable. Like, obviously I don't have currency issues, right? But I don't think you should be solving every build by just throwing currency at it. I think it's way better to do the progression the way people would have to do it themselves if they're playing your build, just so you can actually show how to upgrade your gear, how to do the progression and whatnot. So currently this is my weapon. As I said, I crafted it with the League mechanic. It's a little better than you would expect, but if it doesn't have the crit multiplier, it's all good. You lose like 7-8% damage. All that's important is the crit chance, attack speed, and hits can be evaded. Helmet, I'm still using 3 dragons. I got Fire Leech on it, mostly just to show that it is possible to obtain. I think it cost me like 30C, but you can also get it on gloves if you don't have it on your helmet early on, so it's all good. Still using Carnage Heart. Ashforce and Storm is the best anoint. It's just the most efficient one, so I'm using that one since I don't need anything else, and damage-wise this just ends up being the best. Shield, just fire damage life, nothing else really. A little bit of regen, which is honestly decent. I think I paid 1 div for the shield, I'm not sure exactly, but it wasn't too expensive. So that is the budget we're working with. Paid 2 div for a Death Rush. This ring, I think it was like 15C for base and then Reforged Chaos like 3 times. Very, very basic. Belt, few chaos. Boots, like 50C or so. Plus the implicits obviously, but I kinda had them self-farm. I'm not sure how much they actually cost, but I don't think it's a lot. Gloves, very cheap as well. I've been experimenting with Extinguish on hit. I actually like it quite a lot when you are not element immune. I will try to build true element immunity later on this build, but right now, honestly, Extinguish felt pretty good since you hit so often that 50% is basically perma uptime on anything you are hitting. And then body armor, I bought this unlinked. It's actually pretty good, but I bought it super cheap. I bought it for like 30C unlinked. And then I ended up linking it because I had extra fusings. But I wanted to mention, more importantly, there's a new recipe that uses the new beast, the Black Morrigan. And combined with a Cracking Set Splitter, if you have a 6 socket item that's not corrupted, you can just use this to get a 6 link. And over the last days, it was worth about 100 to 120C for a 6 link. So way cheaper than actually buying fusings. So make sure to do that if you don't have a 6 link yet. Again, I figured it would be a good time to mention that this secret needs to be before DD of chain reaction in your links. So don't forget to do that, because people still mess that up, even though I mentioned that like 6 times in the initial guide. One thing that was wrong in the initial guide is because GGG showcased Call to Arms working with multiple war cries. It had multiple war cries. Here I'm just using Enduring Cry. You can use Infernal Cry instead, but my damage felt fine, so I just didn't bother. And otherwise, I don't think there's anything special about the build in its current state. As you can see, even in this gear, I have 7 mil DPS on Guardian / Pinnacle bosses, which is pretty insane, right? For how much it costs, like I feel like this number is quite crazy. My EHP is very good. My max hit is like acceptable. The fist max hit is a little low, but that is kind of always the case on this build. And I picked a bunch of AoE nodes just to make mapping a bit nicer. Otherwise, nothing too special in here. I actually kept this Crit Master, by the way. Initially in the guide I talked about throwing away, but I think this Crit Master is actually very good for clear. You don't actually need it for single target because Assassin's Spark carries the crit chance. But for clear, I think this Crit Master just feels good. And unless you have like an insane foil with an enchant and tier 1% crit, it generally ends up being worth it. So just check your crit in POB and check it without Assassin's Spark, just to see whether you need to use it or not. So for example, for me, I'm 96% without it, with it, because this is, well, actually, let me show it properly. I am with it, should be at 100%, see? So I think that is worth it, even though it's just 5% crit. It just makes stuff a lot more consistent. I'm using Surgeons on 2 flasks, on Diamond and Silver, just to try to keep the uptime on them a little better. And you cannot have it on every flask since they share the cooldown on triggering the extra charge. You can also just have it on Diamond Flask if you want to ensure the Diamond Flask uptime is 100%. Up to you which one you prefer. I opted for this version since I'm basically just mapping right now. And that is pretty much it I wanted to say. Please let me know if there's anything else you want to know about this build. And if you enjoy this format of me upgrading the build like step by step instead of just going straight into the end game version, please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. It helps a lot. It helps a lot to push the video out so people see it more, and it helps the YouTube to keep going. I will include some showcases of maps at the end, just so you guys can see how this build actually looks with this level of gear. But trust me, it looks quite nice. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Yo, before someone in the YouTube comments attacks my XP bar, I have to pre-defend myself. I just leveled, okay? I promise you, this is not a custom dev build. I figured I might as well get it out of the way, because otherwise, you know, it's gonna be the classic empty XP bar. Oh my god, lol. In all seriousness, I think I died like 3 times on this build or something while mapping, doing beyond delay. So the build is like very, very tanky for like regular mapping. There's like some stuff can get you killed, but generally you don't just randomly fall over. Yeah, that's a lot of corpses in this Phoenix map. But yeah, this is the damage that you saw on the gear in this video. I mean, it is very, very good, all things considered. Can't really complain about it at all. I don't think there is too many builds that have damage of this caliber, and like still nice clear speed and recovery to play with this gear level. Very, very happy with how the build turned out, and very happy for me recommending it to everyone to play. And thanks to Ru for actually making this build as good as it is. That's it for the budget update. Again, please, if you could like and comment on the video, it helps a lot, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with the next update. Most likely actually gonna have real gear, and the build is gonna be pretty much endgame ready. Do some tier 17s, maybe some Ubers if you guys are interested in that. Even though I don't think that many people are farming Ubers this league, since the access to them is very limited. But it's getting better ever since the last patch where they made tier 17s rollable. So just let me know what kind of content you would want to see on the build as well. It would help me so I know what to actually showcase. Bye everyone, have a good day. See you next time.